Hey, welcome everybody to week 4 of Sparkyz cast. This is Hite Sparkyz versus Woongjin Stars. Coming off of some mixed feelings about last week's performance, the two sets that I put up. Sparkyz, of course, getting their first win against Air Force Days, which was great. It's about time. But then unfortunately losing that second set to a pretty good-looking We Made Fox team. I think the addition of Midas on that team is, maybe inspired some of their veterans, and they look like they have. Well, they at least have a very good front lineup if they choose to field that, which of course they did last week. Anyways, we're gonna get right on into this, and this is gonna be a Zerg versus Zerg on Heartbreak Ridge. This is Type B for Sparkyz in the white in the eastern position against Kwanro, the new addition to the Woongjin Stars. He's going to be in Teal here in the western position of Heartbreak Ridge. Kwanro came in. I guess he was a trade sort of to replace the now retired GG play from Woongjin Stars, that's a pretty good move by Woongjin just to make sure that they keep having a I guess an ace caliber a Zerg player on their team. Kwanro, of course, coming over from CJ, and I mean CJ is one of those teams. They've got so much depth on their team that they can afford sort of to lose a player like Kwanro. Obviously, Kwanro he's pretty solid. I like him, but you wouldn't want to lose him from your team. But CJ's one that they've got so much depth that they can probably afford to lose them. While Woongjin Stars, they're desperate for every solid player that they can get. And it looks like so far probably both of these players are going for some sort of Overlord builds. Looks like an overpool there for Kwanro. Still no spawning pool yet for Type B, but it should be coming up pretty soon. Again, this is Heartbreak Ridge, so two-player map. They both know where to scout, and they know where the other players are. There's that spawning pool for Type B, so not too much later. And he looks like he should be getting gas right away. Yes, so gas going down maybe, actually pretty significantly later than the 9 pool from Kwanro, but, the overpool. But anyways, so regardless, this is pretty similar builds coming up, and on Heartbreak Ridge, the distance between these two starting positions is so much that, the difference between these is going to be pretty negligible. So this is a map where just because of the distance of the starting positions and the way that the expansions are let out, it really lends to a more traditional Zerg versus Zerg where some of the discrepancies between builds kind of get washed away just because the distances make it hard for Zergling pressure. But it does look like Kwanro has a little bit of a lead going in when he starts to build his lair. It looks like both players are going lair first, but Kwanro's was a little bit faster, so he might be in a little bit of a lead. But I don't think, as long as both spires go down as soon as the lairs are finished, it should be pretty much negligible. Type B should be able to get Mutalisks out and Scourge to defend against the incoming Mutalisks of Kwanro. Meanwhile, Kwanro is sending out 6 Zerglings, but just in time, Type B is getting his Zerglings out to stop that narrow choke point. If he can just keep Kwanro there at his choke point, he shouldn't be in any trouble at all. He's not going to be in danger of losing that natural expansion, I wouldn't think. Although it probably would be a good idea for Kwanro to maybe go and try to take some pot shots at it and see if he can do a little damage. Maybe he can, if Type B's not on his game, he might be able to do enough damage to take it out later, at least, even if he doesn't get it right here. Meanwhile, there's still a good number of Zerglings, and there he goes. He is taking 2 of his Lings and putting them over to attack that hatchery, and he's actually got another couple of Lings coming in and reinforcing, and so Type B is forced to break out of this choke point that he's got here, and he is losing a lot of Lings. It's hard to tell if he's getting the better of it right now. Oh, it's going to be very close, really close battle, but it does look like Kwanro does come out with a couple more Zerglings. He's got 4 Lings coming into the base of Type B, so Type B's in a good bit of trouble. Oh my, and he has to cancel his Spire. That is terrible. He didn't have any more Lings in production to defend in against those in case that door broke down, and now he's in a lot of trouble. He's got only 2 lings against still, I believe, that 4, maybe even more, 6 now, yeah. 6 Zerglings for Kwanro inside of Type B's base, and he's lost a number of drones already. He had to cancel his Spire, so his Spire is going to be very late. He's got to do something right now if he wants to stay in this game, because very soon, yeah, right there as I speak, the Spire finishes for Kwanro. I don't think he's been saving up larvae, so he doesn't have quite the production right now to build a bunch of Mutalisks, but he's going to have them pretty soon. It looks like there are at least 2 being built right now. Still, I don't even see any Spire going down again for Type B. He hasn't tried to rebuild that since that initial Zergling harass, and he's in a lot of trouble. Right now he's having to put down an evolution chamber. He's going to have to get some spore colonies and maybe some sunken colonies to defend the spore colonies, obviously, for the Mutalisks, and maybe some sunkens for any additional Zerglings that come in. But right now, Kwanro playing it safe. He's got a wall of Zerglings protecting his base, and he's just going to wait for these Mutalisks to come in and take out the pretty much undefended bases. Now, there are creep colonies, but it's going to be pretty late that he's just now putting down the spore colony while the first Mutalisk comes out. Since he didn't have much larvae, it's only 2 right now, but those Mutalisks are just going to be building up, and you know, I think he might even need more than just the one spore colony at each of the bases. Oh yeah, and Kwanro has found a place down at the bottom of the mineral patch of Type B where he can take pot shots at the drones that are mining without being hit by the spore colony. And that's just not going to cut it for Type B. Type B still being harassed economically, and I still don't see a Spire going up for him. He's planning on just defending this with spore colonies, and I don't know, maybe going in and trying to do a big Zergling attack. I really don't know what his plan is later on in this game, but he's down to just 2 drones. He probably just can't even afford it just because of all of the drones that he's lost so far. He's only got 1, I think, at his natural expansion, and now after all of that Mutalisk harassment, he's down to just 2 at his main base, and this is really bad. This is practically an unwinnable position because Kwanro has been completely unharassed. He's got enough Mutalisks now that it doesn't matter that he's being shot by 2 spore colonies. He can trade Mutalisks for drones with the difference in economy that's going on right now. And just to make matters worse, he's going to take out that Overlord that Type B had over in Kwanro's base. Yeah, Type B is actually having to micro every last drone to try to not get it killed. He's microing all of them, but it really doesn't matter. I mean, Kwanro could just park his Mutalisks over those spore colonies. They probably all die, but it doesn't matter because there's nothing that Type B can do. He has no economy and no tech. He still doesn't have a Spire. All he has is a couple of spore colonies to defend his base, but no units, and you really need units, and in particular you need a lot of drones, and so far he has pretty much none of either. Excuse me, having to take a sip of water. So it does look, I mean, I hate to be calling things before they happen, but it is pretty much a done deal right now. Like I said, Kwanro is just now actually listening to my advice and parking his Mutalisks directly on top of those spore colonies and taking the hits because he can afford to do it. Type B, I guess he's built up a few Zerglings. He's going to go in for an all-in Zergling attack, but this is going to be pretty much futile because there are still Zerglings in Kwanro's base. And more than that, he's got Mutalisks to reinforce that, so they're going to be able to clean those up pretty quickly. He does manage to break that wall and get a few lings in, and surprisingly, actually, Kwanro is only on 1 base, so, oh yeah, now Type B GG's. He might have been able to do a little bit of damage with those Zerglings, but he certainly wasn't going to be able to do enough to save his bases. So Kwanro does take that game. Type B GG's. You know, tough break for Sparkyz. Zerg versus Zerg comes down to just a matter of seconds in a lot of cases, and a couple of Zerglings. And in that case, that Zergling fight just left Kwanro with 4-1 Zerglings, and he was able to take that in and do a lot of damage, and that was pretty much the end of the game. Anyways, so Sparkyz going down 0-1 at the beginning of this versus Woongjin Stars, but up next we're going to have Lita, I believe, playing. Actually, I don't have that written down, so, but I don't know. Not to get your hopes up. He is on the schedule, though. We'll see him soon. Anyways, I'll let you know what it is in the next game. See you there. Thanks for watching.